Hi, if you're new here, my name is Max. I live with avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, otherwise known as ARFID. And to quickly get some trigger warnings out of the way, I am not going to be talking about weight in numbers, just general trends. I will be discussing foods and the kinds of foods that I used to eat and the foods that I eat now. I will be discussing some distressing thoughts, things like OCD thoughts, emetophobia thoughts. I will say the words associated with those. I will be talking about fears of being sick, feeling sick, vomiting, all of that stuff. And I think that about covers it. This is a recovery-minded video, so it's mostly positive, but I will be still talking about some challenges. So I made a whole video, which I will link up there, about what ARFID is. What does it mean to live with it? What does it mean to have it? But I will give you an overview now. ARFID is a condition where people will restrict their food intake for many reasons. They tend not to have anything to do with weight, and it has nothing to do with body image, body dysmorphia, all of that stuff, although you can have an overlap with body dysmorphia in very limited circumstances with that recovery kind of mindset. This often occurs due to sensory concerns around how it feels in the mouth, choking, or fears around vomiting. For me, my ARFID is OCD related and related to emetophobia, so I have a phobia of vomiting. I don't know why. It's not something that I've picked. It would be easier if I didn't have it. So I've ended up being scared that foods will make me sick. And this occurs in a variety of thought patterns, so it can be the preparation of the food, having a new food itself, having maybe even choking on the food and that making me sick. I have previously discussed that ARFID has affected my body image, but in the other way round to what you would expect. So I definitely used to, not so much anymore, but I used to resent that my body was so small and petite, and I lacked physical strength because I just wasn't eating enough. I couldn't get enough calories in my body to be strong and have enough body fat to be warm enough. Admittedly, I am too hot now, but it's 31 degrees. And I had to turn the fan off because you could hear it quite significantly. I had always struggled to gain weight. It was always intensely difficult because of the limited range of food, and then also living on universal credit, you cannot feed a human being on what they give you with what's left after rent. How do you gain weight when you're deficient in so many things? You don't. Really. So I struggled with iron deficiency anemia, B12 anemia, vitamin D deficiency. I've had low calcium before. There's probably some that happened but I wasn't told about. Now that I am very much in ARFID recovery, it's not so much about body image anymore. And I also would just like to take this moment. I don't appreciate comments on my body, the shape of it. Even if I look better now, it's not really about how it looks, but it still makes me feel weird because I'm in there. I'm not really in there, this is just the meat suit. So I'm affected less physically and more mentally now. Every meal, even if it's one that I deem a safe food, I wonder if this is going to be the time it makes me sick. Did I make it correctly? Have I bought it from this restaurant a million times, but today their line cook has a bug? I, however, have learned how to eat the food anyway. And I don't find myself pining over food, oh I wish I could eat. I do sometimes find myself pining over specific foods, and that's why I'm saying I'm in recovery and probably will be for a while. But ARFID currently impacts my life the least it ever has, which is great. So a quick then versus now, and there are so many thens, and I'm sure this will be one of the many nows that I experience. But I had a very limited range of foods and meals. When I was a kid, I think all I used to eat was chicken dippers and chips, or chicken nuggets and chips. And then gradually got a bit more varied when I went to uni, and then it was sort of like, you know, instant noodles, oven beige meals, pasta and sauce, which to me was a win. I was underweight and I was underfed and I felt terrible. I had multiple nutritional deficiencies. I was living on what I can only describe as a junk food diet, and I bloated very, very quickly. Eating food, eating a meal would take me forever, and my default attitude towards food was to dislike it first. So if someone was like, hey, do you want to try this? I'd be like, no, I don't like it. How do I know? I've never tried it. Whereas now, I eat a huge range of foods and meals, and as of about May, so I'm filming this in August, so this is still relatively fresh, but as of about May, I haven't eaten the same, well, I haven't cooked the same meal twice in a row, or even twice in this 3 months-ish. It's been something new every time, which is, we will talk about how I've got there. I'm now a healthy weight, and I feel well fed. I'm still chronically ill. There are certain diseases that I have. I don't know that I call them diseases, but whatever. I still have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, there's a link up there. I still have cold urticaria. I'm still deafblind. I'm still all of these things, but I feel less terrible. There are parts of my symptoms that were either caused entirely or made worse by being malnourished. And now that I am well fed, a lot of that has gone nearly away. For example, I haven't really suffered with brain fog in a long time. You would measure it in years, not months. It's been quite nice to be able to think clearly most of the time. I have no current nutritional deficiencies that I know of. They're not being monitored anymore because it's not necessary, and I feel like I don't have these issues. Instead of a junk food diet, I have become an ingredient household. And my friends have heard me talk about this enough, probably, but I am now an ingredient household. If you go in my cupboard, there are ingredients to make food, not packets of crisps, jars of sauce. There's a couple of jars of sauce. Like no chocolate bars, no biscuits. It's like whole grain couscous, stock cubes, spices, flour, ingredients. I have learned how to eat and not feel gross afterwards. Because it turns out I was just sort of overeating, but not eating anything useful. So I would just eat for hours and just cram it down my throat and then have like absolutely no nutritional value in it. If I actually have something that's balanced, I can eat smaller portions and not feel like I'm about to pop, which is honestly delightful. And I can finish a meal in half an hour. And I have genuine dislikes. Because I tried it. I didn't just say, I don't like it. I have genuine dislikes. So what does recovery actually mean when it comes to ARFID? Now, there's not really enough research done on this clinically or socially or anyway. It's not really talked about. Recovery will look different to different people. It even looks different to me at various points of my life. To me right now, recovery is me taking care of the physical side of eating. And it's doing that in spite of the mental stuff. So the mental stuff is still there, but it's not impacting my eating anymore. For now? Question mark. And the biggest thing that I've done to help this in most recently is using a veg box. So it's a not sponsored, not an ad. There is no giveaway, there is nothing, I don't have a code, it's just a veg box. There are many out there, I'm not even going to name the one I use. The veg box I have, they pick the vegetables for you, so I get one specific box, it feeds 2 to 3 people a week, I eat that to myself, and it doesn't allow substitutions, so if I have a thing that's new, I don't get to back out. If it has a thing that I don't necessarily like very much, I don't get to back out. Luckily I do live in a house share, so if there's anything that I actually don't like onions, they give me really bad heartburn. So I just give the onions away. For me, recovery is learning how to cook because I never did that. I'm nearly 30. I should know how to cook, I think. And learning how to cook brought me immense joy and pride. It's even quite fun. Some of it, absolute nonsense. Some of it, delightful. For me, recovery is trying a new recipe every time I cook. It's going through my recipe book that was made by the Vegbox people, so that includes everything that I'm likely to get, so it's realistic. And it's trying a new one, even if it looks very strange. Some of these foods have been sort of deliberately challenging to the OCD gremlins, the ARFID gremlins, like the cuckoo. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's like a courgette. It's like a Persian omelette with courgette in it, and it's eggs. And I was like, you can't reheat eggs? That was OCD brain, and I googled it and you can. So I tried it. It was delicious. It looked like the picture in the book, and I have never been so proud of anything I have ever done. That's a lie. That's a lie. But never have I been more proud of something that I've cooked. It's great. For me, recovery is just having joy from food and from cooking and from being around food. Tuesday mornings are my vegetable delivery days, and I am known now at work to be completely insufferable every Tuesday because I'm so excited about my vegetables. Who am I? However, there are still some steps that I could take. So I'm still scared of not being a vegetarian anymore because I'm scared that if I start eating meat again, that alone will make me sick. Not helped by all of the horror stories where someone decided not to be vegetarian when they were drunk, eating a whole burger, throwing up everywhere. I know it's because they were drunk, or because they did it way too fast, or because it was a McDonald's burger. But still, the brain goblins persist. In the future, I would love to make a decision on that that's not based on fear. I would like to have an actual think about it and an actual trying it to be like, okay, it doesn't make me sick. Is this still what I want? Because there are definitely moral benefits. There are also things that in my life that would be improved if I ate meat. So it swings and roundabouts, and I would just like to not been scared into the decision. I don't know, I think that's the next step. Getting there. Different. This isn't quite like the rice challenge, which I will link up there. Where I also probably talked about, I'm in recovery now, and it was like recovery 2 of about 8. Previously, recovery meant having 20 safe foods. It was buying and eating a vegetable once a month. Or it was not having crisps for dinner again. These were perfect goals for where I was at the time. But I have outgrown those goals, and I'm in a different level of recovery. I'm not sure it will end. I'm okay with that. So am I cured now? No. Were you listening? I don't know that I ever will be. I think the thoughts have always been as intense as they always have been since I was like 6 years old up till now, nearly 30. My thoughts about food seem to have free will, but I don't currently have a limited food intake. I actually don't fit the criteria for having ARFID anymore. So like, physically, yeah, sure, cured. But mentally, no. I don't think so. I don't know. It's not really known how that works. There's not anything out there on the internet outside of a doctor's office that says anything about that. And I find that ARFID research is often inappropriately pooled with other eating disorders, even though they are separate, they are completely separate. I think the only thing that relates them to each other is food. But they don't include like food allergies and intolerances. Was it hard? Yes. There has been some scary moments. It's scary a lot of the time, even when it's exciting and full of joy. It's also scary thinking about the possibility of a relapse. And what if one day my brain decides that everything is bad again? And I don't want that, but it's not really a choice I get. It is actually quite scary living in a body that feels malnourished, and actually is. And you can't really do anything about it. Because A, Brain Gremlin said no, and also I can't afford to try. It's also scary eating food that your brain is trying to convince will kill you. So yeah, that's that's where I'm at with the recovery side of things. I don't know if this has even been a helpful video, if I'm just talking into the void. Probably, usually is. But it's been nice, like, learning to fall in love with food from someone who was previously scared of food, and it is possible to get there. I think I talked in my rice food challenge about having had a bit of therapy for it. That did help, so if you are thinking of pursuing it, NHS or private, or if you're not in the UK, whatever means necessary or available to you, I highly recommend it if you can, but you can also come on leaps and bounds without it. So I've made the biggest strides since being discharged from therapy. And yes, I am very privileged with the access to services that I've had, and that I can afford a veg box, because it is a bit more expensive than going to Aldi. I'm profoundly grateful for all of the help I had from people that didn't have to, but they chose to, which is really nice. And I do also appreciate that not every case of ARFID is my kind of ARFID, with the OCD kind that does respond quite well to what we've treated it with. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and there really is a huge research gap, a huge one. I think there's different subtypes of ARFID and different treatment methods that would benefit each subtype, because exposure therapy is good for some, horrendous for others. So on that cheery note, let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions about ARFID at all. While you're there asking your questions, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel for occasional content about ARFID, and ring that notification bell so you get notified when I have hiccups. So you get notified every single time I post a new video. Videos go up once a month, somewhere in the middle-ish. I aim for a Saturday at 6 PM. That's all I can promise.